Okay, we are on the record in case number 16-83789 DM. This is Adkins versus DeLeon. I'm attorney referee Pete Armstrong. I have the plaintiff, Desiree Adkins, the defendant, Arturo DeLeon, and his attorney, Kim Katowski. All by Zoom. I'm by Zoom. This is a continuation of a hearing that we had started a few weeks ago. I think, and Ms. Katowski, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think we took testimony regarding incomes, and now we are here for your client's motion for parenting time. Is that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor, that's our understanding.
Okay, Desiree, is that your understanding as well, that we took all the testimony regarding income for child support purposes, and now we're going to talk about parenting time?
Yes, my understanding was that Mr. DeLeon was going to provide an updated pay stub based on his raise.
And then
discuss parenting.
Yeah, and I looked, and I received the most current pay stub I have for Arturo. It looks like it's pay period ending March 4. And shows that he makes $17.97 an hour. Is that, and then Arturo, you get a premium, a team leader premium, is that correct too?
Yes, sir.
So that's
I did send another check stub to my attorney already. It should have been forwarded to you. I'm making $25 an hour.
Okay, well, I don't have that. Ms. Katowski, can you send that to me if I give you my email?
I thought we had sent that to you, but we'll get that to you. The stuff we sent last time didn't make it either, but I'll send it the same way.
I got the stuff. Why don't you just send it directly to me? I'll give you my email.
Okay. What's that?
It's parmstrong@miottawa.org.
Okay.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then, so I think what we only have is is parenting time. Desiree, I think Ms. Katowski's probably will call her client, though she can call you as well. Then you'll have a chance to ask questions of Arturo, and then you'll have a chance to testify as well if Ms. Katowski hasn't already called you. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Katowski, do you want to call a witness?
If I can just give a brief summation as to why we're here today for the court. Sure. Currently, the parties share joint physical and joint legal custody pursuant to the judgment of divorce. Their son, Tuto, that's Arturo Jr., but we call him Tuto, has been, in December, he was living full-time with my client. And since, though, our last court hearing with Judge Ingle, we had filed an ex parte petition to change custody for Tuto because he was living full-time with my client. Judge Ingle denied that, but we had a short hearing. And since then, the parenting time has been week on, week off with Arturo, my client's son. And that's been going well for my client. He wants to continue with that. And I think the drop-off and pickups are Friday to Friday at 6 p.m. or Friday to Sunday at 6 p.m. My client would like the drop-off and pickups for the start and ending of parenting time to be at the 16th Street Myers.
Right.
The Riley Street Myers.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. So are we talking, you just said Friday to Sunday. So
that's what they do for week on, week off, is they go Friday to Sunday. Is that correct, Arturo?
Friday to Friday, but with the girls, it would be Sunday.
Okay.
So yeah, it's Friday to Friday with Arturo, and then the girls we've been trying to do every other weekend, but that hasn't been occurring. But either way, my client would like to continue Friday to Friday at 6 p.m. is the drop off and pickup time. And he'd like to continue that at Myers on Riley Street. I'm sorry, Arturo, it's at Riley Street because that's closest to the party's residences. We don't want the parties having to be at each other's homes. It just does not go well for my client. Ms. Atkins cannot stand my client's wife. He's remarried, he's moved on, but she's got a huge vendetta against this poor woman. And so we don't want her coming to their home.
Okay.
As far as the children, the other two daughters are concerned, we have Amadi that's 13 and Aviana that's 9. My client has joint physical custody of them. He would like them on the same week he has his son. It's been a struggle to get Ms. Atkins to allow him to see these girls. She does everything she can to alienate the girls from their father. She doesn't like his wife. Many of the text messages are not about, when they try to communicate about the children, are not about the kids, they're about his wife. He's married to this woman. She's obviously involved in their lives. She's their stepmother and she helps with the kids. He lives with his wife. It is what it is. And she's a good person. She doesn't have a criminal record. She's a good stepmother to these kids, but she's continually, Ms. Atkins, trying to alienate and frustrate the relationship between Arturo and his daughters. We need a set parenting time for all 3 children. The judgment of divorce doesn't set any dates and times for parenting time, it just says joint physical, joint legal, and as the parties can agree, reasonable parenting time as they can agree. And so we need something set. My client has been getting every other weekend with his daughters, but many times Amadi doesn't come. Ms. Atkins does not, she's 13. She kind of lets Amadi run the show. And so many times he's not seeing his oldest daughter. He wants to see all 3 children at the same time. That makes sense. And he would like his daughters week on, week off, the same as he has with Arturo. Their daughter has ADHD. And Arturo is not being kept in the loop, even though he has joint legal custody, about who her doctor is and the medications, and doesn't believe the child is being given her medications. That was an issue with Arturo, that she wasn't giving him his medications because he's on some medications for some medical conditions. So she's not keeping him informed of medical issues, joint legal issues. A lot of the texts are about his wife or how she feels. And my client told her, I'm not going to respond to you unless this is about the kids. I'm not rehashing our divorce, or she gets the best of you now, or these types of things. It's just not appropriate. It should be about the children. And Arturo is at the point where he can't text her anymore. He's very frustrated because it's just all drama. It's less about the children, but all drama. So he wants to use our family wizard and make everything just about the children because it's too much. And he wants to see his daughters on a week on, week off basis, just like he's seen his son. The parties or Ms. Atkins needs to be reminded that alienating the daughters regarding their father is not a good thing. Speaking badly about their stepmom is not a good thing. Speaking poorly about Arturo is not a good thing. And even when he has his weekends, she'll say, well, it's your weekend, but I've made plans with the girls, so they're not coming. So we need set times and dates because she's not following that. We'd like to follow the FOC policy regarding holidays and spring breaks, etc. But my client just wants a set parenting time schedule with his children and to move forward in that way in a more structured format with our family wizard. So the parties can communicate through that means.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Atkins, do you want to make a brief response?
I would like to. So the issue with our son living with his father full time was a temporary thing that we had agreed to because of his attitude. And they have continued since that point to try to make it into something that it was not. And since then, since the ex parte motion, which came extremely out of left field for me, Mr. DeLeon and his wife have tried to alienate me with my son. I don't have a vendetta with his wife at all. I actually, when he first started talking to her, I told him that I thought it would be a good idea because I know her and I felt like she would be good around my kids. I didn't know her that well. And my issues pertain 100% to how my children are treated and her interfering. So if there's no interference by her, I don't have a problem with her. And I have several text messages I can share with the court that show me asking him about our children and him refusing to communicate with me. He tried to put me into a group chat with his wife, and it started out with, babe, I created this group chat so that you and the kids, so that me and you and the kids' mom. So it was 100% to try to make it like I wasn't a person. He couldn't use my name. And I told him that I wouldn't communicate with her because at this point, my daughters, more so my 13-year-old, but both of them, and my son has his moments, but not nearly as much as my daughters. They don't feel like they're treated fairly or well by her. I have tried to help the relationship, and I actually am hurt actually that Mr. DeLeon will lie or have his attorney lie that I haven't tried to help the relationship, because several, I mean, probably hundreds of text messages are me telling him like, I just want what's good for the girls. Like if I didn't care, I wouldn't keep trying to reach out to him and tell him how they're feeling or what they're telling me. I've tried several different ways to communicate with him because our daughters don't always feel comfortable. I at one point recorded the conversation that they had with me without them knowing, because he thinks that I'm putting things into their head. So I just turned record on my phone. I shared that with him before. I've done everything I can to actually try to get him to understand like the relationship that was missing from him being in prison is what needs to be built up. And the way that she treats the girls sometimes, from what they've told me, is a problem. And when they try to communicate with him, she's always there. It's very difficult for my daughters to have a conversation with their father without her there. When they've told him that they want time with him alone or they want to talk to him alone, he tells them that they're married, that they're partners, that she's always going to be there. So he's refusing that one-on-one relationship that especially my 13-year-old craves with him, because she's not at the point where she wants to have a relationship with her stepmom. So my vendetta is that my daughters have lost their dad, all of my children, for 8 years while he was in prison, and they had expectations and they're hurt, and they can't get past that until they have that connection back with their dad. Most recently, Mr. DeLeon, our daughter plays sports, and our son also was wrestling or was going to wrestle. And so our son decided to not wrestle. He had some trouble in the beginning and he wasn't allowed to wrestle, but he still went to the meets, and Mr. DeLeon and his wife would go and support him. And I went to one also to support him when he couldn't wrestle. But our daughter, he didn't go to her basketball games. And she was hurt because she noticed that he was going to our son's stuff when he wasn't participating, and he never came to hers. And I texted him and I said, I don't understand why you're not coming to her games. Like, it's really hurting her. She's left the last two games crying. Are you not coming because I'm there? And no response. So I 100% try to facilitate that.
Okay, and we can
our
take
daughters.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
I want to give you time to testify. Well, let me just ask. So you agree with the week on, week off with your son, or no?
With our son, yes, that's what he would like, and it seems to work.
Okay. Would you hold on a sec? Would you agree with the using our family wizard to communicate?
I already signed up for it. I actually asked Mr. DeLeon 3 times if he would agree to use it, and he refused to answer me. Okay. And then after the last court hearing where they tried, and additionally with CPS saying that he was asking me and I refused. So I've already taken care of it. It's set up. He has the email and the confirmation. He's logged in. So we do have it set up already.
So the only thing that you disagree with is the week on, week off with your 2 daughters.
Absolutely. Yeah. My Amadis doesn't like to go there at all. I do try to encourage her at least to start with one night, but I can guarantee even if the court ordered, she wouldn't stay there. And it's hard for me to force my child to do something. I do encourage it. And so
Okay.
I'm trying, but they would not stay there for a week.
Well,
And
then it sounds like that's the only issue that we need to talk about today. So why don't we go ahead and take some testimony regarding the parenting time for the girls? Okay, is that all right, Ms. Katowski?
Yes, I just want to make sure that we're in agreement that the pickup and drop off for Arturo is at 6 p.m. on Friday to 6 p.m. on Friday, and that it's at the Riley Street Myers. Because we
I
don't
get
want, go ahead, Arturo.
I get Arturo from school on Fridays, and
Yeah.
she gets school on Fridays. And this would be for the girls.
Okay, but he's not going to be in school in the summer.
Right.
Right? So I guess, so after school now is what, whoop, I think we lost him.
No, I can hear you.
Can you still hear us?
I apologize. I'm working from home because I have a flat tire and
Oh, no.
I had to put the dog out, so I apologize. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I feel it. That's fine. I'm a dog person too. I have dogs. So I guess right now they're picking up after school when Arturo gets out of school on Friday. That's where they're doing the pickup and drop offs. But when he doesn't have school, because that's going to happen, summer's coming, then you would like it at 6 p.m. Because we just need this very structured. So 6 p.m. on Friday is where the pickup and drop off time will be at the 16th Street. I'm sorry, I keep saying that. Riley Street Myers, 6
Okay.
p.m. So when he's in school, after school, the party that has the parenting time will pick him up after school, correct, Arturo?
Yep.
That's what you're doing? So right now, when he's in school, you're doing the pickup and drop offs at school, right?
Yep.
After school on Friday, but when he's not, it's 6 p.m. at the Riley Street Myers on Fridays, right?
Yep. Works for me.
Okay. Does that work for you, Ms. Atkins?
that does, yes.
Okay. So so the agreement you guys have is.
One thing
Sorry,
I
go
want to confirm, because the issue for me is more that Mr. DeLeon's wife likes to record everything that happens when they come over to my house or anywhere. I go to their house every single morning, even on their week, to give our son a ride to school because I have to bring them. So that is not an issue, correct?
Correct. That's not an issue. Is correct, Arturo? She can still take him to school in the morning on your
Mhm.
weeks.
Yeah, we're not there. I'm just tired of the drama.
I mean,
So-
Leticia was there this morning when I brought my
Yeah.
son. So that's my point, is as long as nobody's coming out and saying stuff, I don't have an issue.
Okay.
So I'm good with that.
So I prefer not to, but it's fine. As long as we're not home, that's fine. I'm
Well,
tired of
What if
Oh.
somebody is home?
Like this morning, I picked him up and she was home. So I don't want to be told later that I did something I wasn't supposed to do.
Normally, she's not home, correct, Arturo?
correct.
You have court this morning, so she's home, correct?
No, we took the other kids to school. Like she has joint custody of her children too, my stepkids.
Okay.
So she is regularly home during the week when I pick him up, at least 2 or 3 days, I believe.
Okay, stop, hold on. Desiree's gonna pick up Arturo for school during Arturo's parenting time.
Right.
Can she just pull in, not get out of the car, and the kid comes out no matter what?
Yep. Not a
Okay.
problem.
All right, that's what it'll be then.
So my question would be, when my son tells me he doesn't want to go home, what do I do? Because I don't want to double standards. If she doesn't make my daughter come, but I force
Okay.
myself to go back with his mom.
Let's, this isn't a mediation, guys. We need just to take testimony and I'll enter orders.
Okay.
The-
And Arturo, though,
here's the thing. The court order will be the court order, and you both will be responsible for making sure the kids do what they're supposed to do for the court order, okay? Kids don't get to decide they're gonna go or not go. Now,
That's right.
whatever, you're both responsible to get your kids to parenting time with the other parent. Whether the kid stays or not, I don't know. That's something you guys will deal with, but let's just take some testimony, try to figure things out, okay?
Thank you, Aaron.
All right, just that. Okay, Ms. Gutowski, do you want to call a witness?
I'll call Arturo De Leon to the stand, please.
Mr. De Leon, will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And you're Arturo De Leon?
Yep. Junior.
Okay, Junior?
Yep.
All right, Ms. Gutowski?
Thank you. Arturo, can you tell the court how many children you have with Miss Atkins?
I have 3.
What are their names and ages?
Arturo is 14, 10/20/2007. Amadis is 13. Her birthday is November 30th, 2008. And Aviana is 9. Her birthday is 4th of July, 2012.
Okay. And you currently are seeing your daughters or not? Tell the court what's been going on.
I see my son, and then when I get my daughters, a daughter, when it comes, Madis doesn't come. She's not forced to come. It is a battle for me fighting with a relationship with her. When she comes with me, it's man, we have such a great time. But when she goes home, it's the opposite. We just wait for the phone calls to come back about what my wife did or didn't do, and a battle starts. But it's all like, it's a big family when we're together. Like I just don't understand it, and I'm just trying to rebuild the relationship with my children.
So you have joint physical and joint legal custody of all 3 children, correct?
Yes.
And since you've been exercising parenting time with Tudo, you've asked her to have parenting time with your daughters, correct?
I've been asking since I've been home from prison. I lived with family in a 2-bedroom apartment when I first came home. So there wasn't all the room in the world to have them. But once I did get the room, my daughters had her own room. And like I said, I've just been trying to repair the relationship with them. But it's just been hard. And I know it's a challenge, but I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm ready for counseling, whatever I have to do with my children to repair. I've tried to talk to the kid's mom about getting the daughter into my daughter Amadis into counseling. Nothing ever came out of that. But it's just, man, I would love to have this time with my daughters. Like I'm trying to, man, I don't want them to be fatherless. I don't want them to have these daddy problems later. Like, especially when I'm willing and able with them now. Like I talk to my, like I call her so much, just crying with her. Just, man, let me be dad. You don't have to be a parent here. You're not like, she's 13 going on 30. I just want you to be my 12-year-old daughter, my 13-year-old daughter. That's all you got to do is be a kid here. You know, it's just hard for her. She's very social. She has a big social life. But man, I just want to be dad, man. I want to be dad for all 3 of them. They all deserve that. And I deserve that as a father, regardless of who feels what the mom feels, or how an ex-boyfriend or my wife feels. Like, my kids deserve that. And I just want that opportunity with them. But I do have structure in my house. My daughter does not like structure. There's bedtimes. I limit social media. I check their social media. There's things that I do with them that they're not allowed to do at my house, that they may or may not be able to do at their mom's. I don't know. I mind my business in my house. I have my house rules, and her mom has her house rules. But I just want my relationship at the end of the day. Like, I don't care about the child support money. You can have my whole check as long as I get my kids. I don't care. You can have it. I work 40 hours. I work 60 if you want the check. You can have it. Just want my kids, man. I'm just tired of all this drama.
So how has Miss Atkins frustrated the relationship between you and your 2 daughters? What's she done when you've tried to exercise parenting time, Arturo?
And there's just been so much. You know, it's just, when I get my daughters, like I said, I have structure in my house. If I'm structuralizing my house and trying to break bad habits that they come with, my daughters will call. Like, especially Maddie's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. The mom she won't text me. She'll just come get my daughters. My daughters will both walk out the door. This still happens, even with Aviana. Like, she's a little more, Aviana stays longer, but she'll just come get them. Like, and I don't even know where my daughters are going. They'll leave in the middle of the night because their mom will come get them. And I don't even know they're gone. Like, I don't even get a courtesy call. Like, hey, I pick my daughters up. Like, you know, like, it's crazy, man. I just want something set. If it's my parenting time, let me parent my kids. Like, let me be dad. We got some things we got to work through. I was gone almost 8 years. We have to build a relationship. We have to work through these problems. But she gets in the interference of that. And it seems like my daughters have to be loyal to their mom. Like they have to choose sides. They don't have to choose sides. They just got to be kids. But like it just, I personally feel like she has to choose sides when it comes to her mother and my wife, just like they might have felt before, like me and their boyfriend or her living boyfriend. He left 2 weeks ago, but there has to be sides. No, there does not have to be sides. There just has to be a relationship. So that's all. I'm just trying to knock these barriers down. There's always walls going up. I just want to get past these walls.
So when you've had the children or you've planned to have your daughters, has she purposely said they're not coming or made plans or tell the court what she's done to frustrate that? When you plan to have them coming and then they don't come, tell the court.
Right. Man, there's all types of stuff. There's Chicago trips. There's things with their mom. Like, oh, I took the day off of work, so I'm keeping the kids. There's just, you name it. There's always something. At least once a month or every 2 months on the other weekend thing, there's always something going on where I don't get my daughters. Or my daughters will have to tell me, Dad, oh, it's your weekend. Like once I start getting on, I'm like, yo, it's my weekend. What's up? Oh no, well, my mom's doing this, my mom's doing that. So like it's hard for me to even parent them with like that. Like, man, like there's nothing consistent in the schedule. Like I need a specific schedule, and the court can't enforce what they don't have. If the court didn't enforce it, they're not going to enforce it. And I've tried since I came home to build this relationship. Hey, can we sit down and talk? Can we put this in writing? Can we do this? And she always makes it about money. Like I don't care about child support. Man, you can have my check. I just want my kids. And it's the point. Like I've asked if I can have the kids on different weekends so I can blend my family together. Like, man, when they're together, regardless of what they tell their mom, we have a family at our house, just like she does at her house with her mixed family over there. Like they have two families, and man, it just makes it difficult. Like I'm not in the way when the boyfriend's over there, when they're calling him dad. I'm not in the way. That there's a lot of double standards that I have to deal with that's contrary to what happens at her house, and I don't agree with it. But instead of beating her up about it like she does me, I let it go because I can't control what's going on at her house. I like her boyfriend, man. We had many conversations. Hey, man, how you doing? We might not agree with everything with each other, but we found a way to communicate without attacking each other. And that's what I'm trying to build with my kid's mom. But I haven't been able to work with her. I've talked to her mom. I went through like 5 different people because I cannot communicate with her mom. And yes, it finally did come to the point where I'm not texting her no more. And since she has so much to say about my wife and the way we parent, I did try to get us on a communication together. And I even tried to get her boyfriend on there that she did not want. So there is some truth, but it was filtered with untruth or not said truth. So it has some truth to it, but there's a lot more to what's being said. And like I said, man, I just want to parent my kids. Like regardless, I just hope Miss Atkins just fall back a little bit. Just fall back. You can't control my house. You can't control the way I think. She has control issues. I need her to fall back on for me to be able to be the man I'm supposed to be. I'm a man. I'm called to be a man. I'm the man of my house. I'm a father. I'm not mother. I'm not dad. I'm not playing both roles like her house. She don't have to play both roles. All she has to do is be their mom. Just let me play my part. I just want to be dad.
So Arturo, you go to church on Sunday, is that correct?
Yes.
And you're heavily involved in your church and ministries and that type of thing, right?
Yeah, I do evangelism. I've done many events where I shared my story. I teach at a men's home every other weekend. We're actually going to be changing locations soon. I work with drug addicts, homeless people, ex-gang members, and I work with all types of people. And that's just like at the bottom of the line. I still I got crews at work. I'm a team leader at my job. I'll deal with so many different people in life, man. All the life experiences I've been through, and God's using me now. I still have my flaws. I bump my head. I'm not perfect, but I'm still striving to be better every day. And that's part of the faith walk. Nobody's perfect.
So would you want to take your daughters to church with you on Sunday?
Oh, I would love it. I'll take Aviana, man. We worship together. Like her hands are in mine. And we just sit there and we pray. It's like the most beautiful thing in the world. And I've done it with Amadis when she comes. Like she gets a little more embarrassed because she's older. But yeah, like we do it. And that's just beautiful.
And has the church helped with your son? They've counseled your son and helped, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So are a lot of the communications about her disliking your wife?
As far as what?
when you try to communicate with her about the kids, does she steer the conversation towards your wife all the time?
That's how the conversation starts. Like, man, like, honestly, like, I don't communicate with her, not in a bad way, but if I don't have questions, like, I just leave her alone. If I don't have questions about medicine, or if I don't have, hey, you sending pills this week, like, there's no need. If she tells me about parent teachers conferences or whatever, then yeah, like I'm willing. But other than that, the conversation comes at me. Like, I'm usually just countering, like, all right, man, like, I'm not doing this. And I 97% of the time, I ignored every conversation that she sent that had to do with anything. But I listen and I filter out between the mess. And I think that's what we as parents, co-parenting, have to learn how to do. We have to learn how to filter out through the mess and really try to figure out what the problem is without attacking the other parent. Like, yo, man, you know, like, it's part of co-parenting. I took parenting classes, man. I took all types of just marriage class. I've took so many classes about communication, and I have very unhealthy communication with their mother, and it's sad because we should be co-parenting.
So what you're telling the court is you want to co-parent, but she steers the conversations via text about your daughters, about your wife, or other drama, right?
Correct. And it makes it hard just to even respond to her because of that, because there's too much emotion involved. Like, I just try to, like, nonchalant, like, man, like, I wave in passing, but that's all we got. I mean, like, for real, man, like, if it's not about the kids, what do we even need to talk about?
Right.
You're not, man,
Right.
It makes it hard. It makes it very uncomfortable because for me, like, it's a mood swing. Like, she'd be all nice and sweet in front of everybody, but attacking me on these texts, and, like, and I don't know how to be responded. Like, I don't even know how to be around you because you make me so uncomfortable. Like, man, like, for real, man, like, there's times where I'm even just paranoid to meet up, like going to the doctor's office. Man, I had to call the cops and ask them, like, what do I do? I'm really scared for my freedom because of how manipulative she could be. Like, man, she makes me nervous, man. Like, I'm really scared, like, that she can get me arrested. Like, it doesn't take a lot for me being on parole. It doesn't take a lot. All they need to do is say I did something, and they can come get me. Like, man, and I'm not called to live in fear, man, but that anxiousness and that nervousness because of this like, I'm not going to talk about it. I refuse to do that. I don't do it with my kids. I don't do it about her or behind her back, but I just think things could be a lot healthier.
So, Arturo, tell the court, one of your daughters is on medication. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that medication for? Do you know?
The ADHD. I know there's an upper dosage that came recently from what my daughter said, but I don't get pill bottles. I don't get what the side effects are. I don't know what the doctor is. Like, there's a lot of things that I don't know.
Which daughter is that, Arturo?
That's Aviana.
So Aviana has been diagnosed with ADHD, and she won't tell you who her doctor is.
Or I guess I would say I haven't really asked her, but there was no voluntary information either. Like, hey, your daughter's on this prescription went up, this changed. Like with Arturo, it happens more because of the frequency that he goes on and just the questions whether he takes his meds or not. But with her, no, it's different because from what my daughter says that she doesn't have to take them. She doesn't take them every day. There's been times even recently, she's been dropped off at my parents' house when I was there. She comes in, stays the night, no medication for the morning. And it's a constant process. And I just kind of hope that she would send me enough meds where I don't have to ask for them every time my daughter gets dropped off. You know, I think we should have that type of relationship to send, like, okay, if we know, like, she's coming 8 days out the month, send 8 pills when you get the prescription. And I didn't start getting my son's medicine until I filed the ex parte when I really put my foot down with this in this child custody matter. Before that, it was just like, I get what I get, you know, and there's been a lot of resistance. And it's just, man, it's just to that point now where I have to have the courts involved.
And you want to set time with your daughters, is that correct?
I would love the week. I've been trying to get the week on, week off. Like I said, I've been trying to get the weekend so I can blend my whole family together. Like I want harmony in my house. Then that's the only way I'm gonna get it is if I have my kids with me. This being a popcorn dad, pop up one day, pop out another. That's not me. This argumentative relationship that I have because she don't like my wife or she has to be loyal to her mom. She doesn't have to be loyal. She has 2 families. And I
Well,
mean,
you feel Miss Atkins is putting your daughters into a position that they have to either be loyal to her or loyal to your new wife, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is completely inappropriate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your new wife, she has a relationship with your daughters, right?
Yep.
Okay. And so Arturo, do you feel you need set specific times because she just won't make the kids go, or she schedules other things on your time with them, right?
Right. Well, I want specific times because my daughters talk legal talk. They said, Dad, it's not court ordered. I don't have to come with you. I'm not coming with you. And I've heard this repeatedly. I've heard this legal jargon coming out of their mouth that they should not even know. There's conversations. Well, I don't gotta go with you. My mom said this. My mom said that. I don't gotta do this. Like, I don't got. If the court didn't do it, I don't gotta do nothing with you. It's just like a man. Like, where all this anger comes, this spite. Like, man, I just want to be dad, man. Let's have this relationship, and it makes it really difficult. So yes, I would like parenting time. I would love.
And you have joint physical custody of them as well, right, Arturo?
That's what the paper says. But that's not what I'm. So,
but fair to say, she calls the shots with your daughter, but when it comes to your son, because she can't handle them, she just lets you take them, right?
correct.
Okay. Anything further you want to tell the court about this, Arturo?
Well, I honestly, man, like, I want the relationship with my kids, but it's like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's hard. I just want the court to know that I am trying, that I'm willing to take any class, that whatever it takes, I'm willing to sit in counseling with my daughters, that whatever it takes for me to repair the relationship with them. But I also think their mom needs counseling too, with them. Like when I was in South Carolina last weekend, I was getting calls about how to parent my son, like, because she does hit my son. And I did call CPS. I've witnessed it several times. She said as long as it doesn't leave a mark, the CPS is okay with it, that she can hit him as long as it doesn't leave a mark. I got the text from her that says that. But I do have a phone for my son. I have him on my computer, but I believe because of the dislike she has for my wife, she took him off. She put him under her family plan. And changed the whole Apple ID up where I can't even log into his phone if I don't want to. And so I gave her her phone back. He's still under my plan. I changed everything up. He's back under my stuff. But she basically thinks that I'm taking power from her on how to control him because she can't hit him no more or turn his phone off. I have other ways of working with him. I talk with him, just like how she talks with my daughters. And I think that she really needs to work on a relationship with him. And I would like him a lot more than I'm not going to fight right now because he deserves a chance with his mother, the week on, week off, and it's going to help her build that relationship with him. But I think she needs a little more with that. I would strongly encourage her to do counseling to learn how to effectively communicate with him and not just however what's going on. I know what I see and I know what I know, whether she calls me a liar or not. Like, I know a lot more than I say. So,
all right, thank you, Arturo.
Yeah.
Desiree, you have questions for Arturo, and it's very difficult, but remember, you're just asking questions, you're not testifying, okay?
I understand. So I just have a question as to the kind of at one point you stated, I don't need to play both roles, but then at another point you stated that you're always willing to be their parent. Is that true?
Are you trying to sucker me into a conversation? Because that's where you're going with this. You can ask the question straightforward. I'll answer it because I know how you roll, bro. Answer me the question.
And Your Honor, this is I'm not his bruh. I can't have a conversation with him or ask a question. So I'm just trying to point out the two different statements that don't align.
Arturo, I think you can answer that question. You need her to ask that again?
Yes.
Just wondering if you're willing to be a father at both my house and yours, or if you're not willing to be a father at both houses, like the co-parenting. Would you like to be contacted as a father when they're with me, or would you like me to not have you be a father?
I am a father in both houses. You were in a committed relationship. with another gentleman that is not there no
Not my
more.
question.
Let me finish. Let me
Let him
finish.
finish his answer.
You allow he played dad, and my kids call him dad, correct? So you have your house. I let you guys co-parent. Not that I let you guys co-parent over there with my kids. If you see a need outside of that to call me up, yes, call me. If there's anything that I can help with, yes, I will be there. But you have a new house, you have your own thing going on there. You have full reign at your house. I have no business getting in your house over there. That's your business. Whatever rules, whatever things you're enforcing over there with the kids and your kid's dad, that's your house.
Okay, next question. Well, we move on.
Okay, in your ex parte, you mentioned, and your attorney just mentioned, that when I contact you because I can't handle our son, or when I reach out to you, that's because I can't handle him, not to co-parent. Is that true?
Ask me the question a different way, because I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Yeah, I had a little trouble. I understand.
Okay.
I'll try it again.
If I contact you because of how Arturo is acting up, do you consider that co-parenting, or do you consider that me not being able to handle him?
I consider it both.
Okay. As far as the conversations on me having the kids on your weekends and me not clearing things with you, do you recall having not allowing your kids to come over to your house on Father's Day last year because you had people at your house?
No, I do not recall that at all. Especially when I asked them for Father's Day, when you take them to Florida to get Rain's kids on Father's Day weekend, when they don't come 7 o'clock at night. That's what
I can provide the court with text messages that show the kids were told.
I'm going to objection to that. She hasn't provided exhibits.
Okay.
She can't then provide them at a later date and time. She can't do that.
I'll sustain the objection.
Mr. DeLeon, do you remember when it was our son's birthday and you had plans to go to Detroit?
Was he coming with me, or is this
or Lansing?
Is that when you left to Detroit, when you left him?
No, I'm talking about on his birthday weekend when you guys told me that he could just stay home with me because you had plans to go somewhere. Do you recall that?
Nope.
So you did not go to Lansing over his birthday weekend?
I'm gonna object. There isn't even a time frame here. Are we talking when he was?
Hold on.
Weekend.
Hold on. There's no time frame. He has a birthday every year.
What is the time frame you're referring to? What birthday?
That her parenting.
2021, this year.
Mr. DeLeon, hold on.
This past year, 2021, his birthday weekend was Mr. DeLeon's weekend.
Okay, Mr. DeLeon, she's talking about his birthday in October 20 of 2021. Were you in Lansing for that?
It's a good part. I don't know. We do travel, but I don't know if that was a weekend or not. And if it was my weekend, if he didn't want to come with me, that's the only way he's not coming on my weekend. I do not make plans that doesn't involve my son or any of my kids on my weekends.
Okay.
So I do believe that the court has the documents. I'm not sure if it can be considered from the ex parte with the text message related to that.
Object to that. I mean, she has not submitted that as a document for evidence today as an exhibit. She's relaying to other hearings that we've had. She hasn't sent me exhibits for today's hearing.
Which was also, I thought that was because that was mentioned in her questioning the hearing before.
Well,
so
I can take judicial notice of the court file. I'm not sure if I need to at this point. Ms. Atkins, just let's move on with the questions.
Okay. My next question is to our son's medication. So you mentioned that you are not before the ex parte or since ex parte, you've been receiving his medication regularly, but you had not prior to that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Before ex parte, you did not get him every time. We were going to get them. We had to call and check on you to make sure that you do get them because you don't fully commit to getting them.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Did you in your ex In your ex parte motion, did you state that you always get his medication and I never do and I refuse to?
I don't have the ex parte in front of me, but if that was submitted, then yes. You are very unreliable when it comes to getting my son's medicine.
Thank you. That's all.
Run out. No, answer the question.
Objection.
Stop.
She doesn't like the answer, so she cuts my client off. Can you
Stop,
finish?
He's going past the question. The question was,
stop. Mr. DeLeon, you can answer the question. I feel you answered the question. Ms. Katowski can follow up with you if you feel there's more information that you need to give, okay? Go ahead, Ms. Atkins.
okay. Have I sent you messages in the past to let you know what I see from Amadis, or that asking you questions about her wanting to spend time with just you?
Yes, you have sent messages. I had to filter through all the other mess to get to that, but yes.
Do you recall our conversations prior to December of 2021, where we had daily healthy conversations about Amadis's birthday and what she would like for Christmas, and the other children as well, but specifically to Amadis around her birthday? Do you recall those conversations?
I remember vaguely, but I just want to know what you're getting at in this question. If you just answer the
Answer
question
the question, Mr. DeLeon, you just have to answer the question.
vaguely, because I don't know what specific she's talking about.
Just conversations related to the kids and things about them that were healthy or not fighting.
There has been a seldom periods since I've been out of prison where, yes, it does go good, but because of your mood swings, they don't stay
That's
that way.
all. Thank you, Your Honor. That's all the questions I have for him specifically.
Okay, Ms. Katowski, did you want to follow up with any of those things?
Arturo, have you tried to communicate with her regarding the kids?
Numerous times, but it gets nowhere, because as soon as I start talking, she starts flipping off the handle, and there's no communication. And so I just stop talking, and I will leave the conversation.
And does a lot of the conversation focus back to your wife for some reason?
It goes from my wife and to me not knowing anything. It's just, man, it just goes all over the place, just from the anger. We had a crazy relationship. It was toxic. It was verbally abusive. It was physically abusive. We did not have great times, and I no longer live like that. And it just seems like when we talk, the relationship will typically pick up where we left off. And I don't live like that. I've changed. Like, I don't know where she's at in her life, but it's too much flesh when we talk, and I don't want to be in my flesh when I talk with her. So I choose not to.
Okay. You feel that she's jealous of the relationship you have with your new wife?
Yes, because she didn't get treated that way, which she stated numerous times. Her daughter, her oldest daughter, states it to me. My daughter, 13-year-old daughter, tells me that. Her mother has told me that, because I have the relationship with my wife that she wanted. And our divorce happened during my change, and I'm happy to remarry now. And then I'm sorry things didn't work out between me and her. We both had our flaws, and we both had our great sides to us. We just didn't work together. And it's hard co-parenting because of that.
But you feel you've gotten past that, right, Arturo, and she hasn't?
Correct. And it's just kind of hard. Like, even answering questions, because it could be misleading on what you're trying to ask me. And like I want to answer it, but I don't know, because I feel like I'm getting set up for another question. Like I'm getting baited in. Well, not from you, but that was from her.
Right. And as far as your daughters are concerned, you want to be their dad, you want to spend time with them, you just need a set schedule, right, Arturo?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And
It's all up to her mood if they come or not, right?
Yes. So even with the set schedule, so like I don't agree with her parenting with my son, but I don't belittle their mother. If I have something to say, like I'll mutter under my breath and I'll walk away to another room. But I would like that same thing from her, because like my son, if you ever call my son, man, he was like how she calls me a bitch. Like I'm everything in the book because she doesn't like my answers. Like she, man, there's just so much. I just want the healthy relationship. You know what I'm saying? Just give me a chance to be dad, even during my time. Whether you agree with it or not, just say, man, give your dad a chance. Because that's what I tell my kids. When I tell my son when he does not want to go with his mom, just give your mom a chance. You know, like she says it, but I'm really doing it. You know, like I can't say she's not doing it with my daughters, but it doesn't seem like it from the conversation I get from my daughters.
So you want something in the court order that she cannot make disparaging remarks about you, et cetera, to them. You think that's going on, or about your family or your wife, that type of thing.
Right. I believe that was in the divorce decree anyway. And the divorce order should have been in there anyway. I think it is. I think when I looked it over, but it's not in front of me. So the same thing when she asked questions for the ex parte, it's not in front of me, so I can't 100% confirm that.
Right. All right. Thank you. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Dillon, I just have a couple questions for you. I'm trying to figure out when did you get out of prison?
I got out. I went to the halfway house October 2019. I was officially on parole in April 2020.
And you had been in prison for a while?
Yes, sir.
How long were you in prison?
Between there and the halfway house, probably like 7 3/4, almost 8 years.
Okay, so when the judgment of divorce was entered, were you already incarcerated?
Yes, sir. I was yes.
Okay, and when you were in the halfway house, did you have parenting time then, or was it not, didn't work out that way?
I was getting weekends. She allowed the kids to come with me on the weekends. Like even when I first went home to my mother's house, I was in a bedroom, and my mom's kind of she's different, you know. Yeah, so like the parenting time that I was getting, it worked for the time where we was at, like overnight stays or whatever. Like I didn't have my own place.
Okay, so you started seeing your kids again in October of 2019, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how did that go?
It's great. Like everything was good. It wasn't until I got married when things started shifting.
Okay, and was it generally every other weekend?
When I first at first she was letting them come every weekend, but then she was like, man, like you can't have them every weekend, which I understood. We were just trying to pass time.
Okay.
So she's like have good times where she was letting them come. Like it was, she wasn't.
What is if Ms. Atkins said in her opening that if one of your daughters comes, she's not going to stay at your house. What's your reaction to that? My reaction on that is, I think a lot of that comes from the having to be loyal to her mother. I believe that she feels like she can't like my wife. Not that she doesn't like her, but because of the disagreement or whatever, the dislike of my wife from the mom, I believe that causes a ripple effect into my children. Like I said, we have great times. And then when she goes home, like the bashing starts. So usually when I go home, when my daughters are with me, I just wait for it just because the attacks come after that, the verbal attacks. So when they're with you, and we're talking about both daughters, things are good. Yeah, good. They seem fine. Everything seems fine. And then suddenly they get home, and what you hear from them or from Desiree when they come home is totally different than what happened during your parenting time? Yes, sir. Like, man, like I watched a lot of reality TV, but if there was cameras in my house, it'd be the opposite of what the story's coming back to me as. So you're not then worried that it sounds like they would stay because they're having a good time? Now, when they come home, they might complain. When they go back to their mom, they might complain. But when they're with you, if they're having a good time, do you see that one or both of them just leaving?
No, but I do see my daughter Amadi's pulling back when the family setting kicks in. Even spending time with my wife, like she wants to, but the hesitation starts kicking in, and I believe it stems back to the mother. Like, I cannot prove that, no, but I just uh yeah, I don't know. We're just trying to blend the families.
Do you
Um,
feel that you need um, counseling with your daughters to be successful in your relationship with them?
Honestly, like, I would do it if that breaks a heart, if that breaks a mold around my daughter's heart, I would do whatever it takes. But do I think we need it? No, not all the time.
Okay.
Like I said, it's just when she gets in these moments, like I said, like, and then, like, even recently, like, things just kind of like, they just got really hard between me and the kid's mom. There's been a lot of cops involved. There's been CPS involved. There's just been, like, man, like the sheriffs have been to the house numerous times, and that pushed her hate up even more. So with, like, the I don't want to be around you. I don't want to be around your wife, because, like, the disagreement with the mom, and not to get rid of the mom out the middle, but out the middle of my relationship with my daughter would greatly help. Like,
When have the police been called out? And are they called to your house or to her house?
they've been at both. They've
What,
been at both. There's
what was the
numerous.
reason for the calls?
A lot of it has to do with my son, with parenting times. My son was hit, and then I called CPS. There was cops there.
When was that?
This was in the last month. When I filed my ex parte. I made some allegations that I've seen, and Judge Engel said that because there was no record of it, like, it felt like this wasn't an emergency. Well, I'm recording everything. So when she made a conversation earlier, a comment about the recording, I record everything now. I record phone calls, conversations, when my son's on the phone with me crying. Everything that's done is all in audio and video recording.
Have there been any police? Have the police charged either of you with anything recently?
Nope.
Has
No.
CPS recently substantiated anything against either of you? Recently?
So when they called to my house, they did their investigation. They said that they will get back to me. They said there was no marks on my son. They took pictures. They went back to their mom's house and took pictures over there too. And I explained to them everything that I see from their mom, everything that they're going through. It's just to that point where if I'm having to get the authorities involved, just because, like, my mouth doesn't go too far for me.
Okay, so. And what's the most time since you've been released from prison? What's the longest period of time that you've spent with your daughters, where they've been with you for parenting time?
It depends, because they were coming every other weekend. Like I said, like, man, like, it seemed like the less I had, the more they were with me, and not the more of abundance that I have. It's the less I see them now. There's been days. There's like my daughters haven't stayed for a week at a time, but they've come for weekends. And then the one of Madi, she went from weekends, because I wouldn't always let her friends stay, from how she acts. She kind of bullies the other siblings sometimes when her friends are around. And once I put my foot down and said no friends until you could treat them better, she stopped coming more frequently. It turned in from days to hours to now nothing, and me just fighting for a relationship with her.
Okay. And if they lived with you for a week, do you have a bedroom for them, beds for them?
Yes.
Okay.
My apartment is 1,700 square feet. My daughters have walk-in closets. There's adequate room. Man, like, it's a very spacious apartment. CPS did look at the house. They did come in. They looked at the rooms. So, like, I have more than adequate room. I have food. Like, I don't get food stamps or anything, but I got a freezer full of food. Like, I got everything they need to accommodate them. I got their wardrobe in the house. I got everything for them.
Okay, okay, thank you. Ms. Katowski, did you have any questions, follow-up questions from the questions that I just asked?
Just that if your daughters are with you, Arturo, do you want to make sure she communicates with you through our family wizard about her medication? Because there's been issues that your daughter is not taking her prescribed medication, correct, Arturo? Not
Right.
on your time, but on her time, right?
Right.
So
Just
you-
what? Like, I'm adamant about the kids taking their medication. I'm very adamant
You're
about it.
not a doctor, and if something's prescribed, you say, take it. Not how the kids feel, or if mom says it's okay. If a doctor prescribes it, you feel the kids need to take it, right? You're not a medical doctor, right, Arturo?
Not at all.
Okay, so if a
I
doctor,
do have a follow-up question, Your Honor.
You'll get a chance, you'll have a chance.
so if your daughter's on ADHD medication, it's not up to her if she feels like taking it because the doctor has prescribed it, right, Arturo?
That's right.
And according to what you've told me is that her mother doesn't always have them take their medications, right?
Correct.
How do you know that?
I question my kids. Like, hey, how you doing? I throw it in nonchalantly to get a response, to get an answer from them. And there's are times when they don't take it. There's times when I call Aviana and she does not take it.
So you'd say, hey, Aviana, how you doing? Make sure you take your pill today. Just a reminder. And she says, I don't take it.
Yeah, she said, I didn't take it. Mom didn't give it to me. We got to go pick up the prescription. There's been numerous things. Or I'm at my grandma's house. I don't got any here. And that's from both of them, not just one of them. That's from both my kids that take medication.
That's for Arturo and your daughter, right?
Yep. So it's kind of like I don't try to like be childish when I call and I ask for parents to do does like especially her father. Does the kids need anything? It's like, like I get the response like nothing I can't provide, but I'm more or less just talking about medication. I know her parents are great. I'm not even, there's no argument out of me. I just don't know if he got his meds. Like honestly, it's just like how do I tell people that without sounding like a jerk? Because I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just want to know if my son took his meds. And
Right.
my dog.
Okay. And your son, can you tell the court why he needs some encouragement? I mean, he's 14, right, Arturo?
Yeah, but he hates taking his meds.
Okay.
He
So
hates taking.
kids aren't adults, and even some adults need encouragement taking their meds, but they need to make sure from the parent's perspective, they get their meds, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so also with Arturo, you said she hit Arturo, but did she admit to you that she hit him?
Don't recall, but I've witnessed her do it. On FaceTime, like in the morning times when he's having problems not listening to what she says.
You've seen her hit him on live video?
Oh yeah, I seen her slap him around. She's very hands-on. She is very hands-on. My son's a big boy, she's a big girl, but he's strong, but I feel like when he hits back, that it's when she hits him. And he doesn't just hit her. He don't walk up and hit her. She's the antagonist in this because she doesn't bend to her will.
So this recent case where CPS is involved, she hit him where? In the face, chest? Where did she hit him?
She hit him a few times, and then with the hanger, it hit him in the throat when the hanger broke on him. And then
hit him in the throat?
The hanger hit him in the throat. And that's all this CPS, this is all documented with CPS. I'm just waiting on see what they're gonna do.
Okay.
Yep.
And I didn't hear you correctly, but she hit him with a hanger in the throat?
Yes, ma'am. Like she was hitting him and the hanger hit him in the throat.
Hitting him with a clothes hanger?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I object.
Okay, what
This
is your
is
objection?
Their
Hold on.
side of the story.
Okay, you'll have a chance to also say.
Okay.
Okay, so this is recent, and he was hit in the head or throat with a coat hanger by his mother. This is your son, right?
Yep.
Is that right,
And-
Arthur?
Yep. And hitting him with an open hand.
And hit him with an open hand.
Yes,
In the
ma'am.
face, or where did she hit him?
He didn't specify, but he was being hit, and he said this was the second time he's been hit in a week at that point in time.
And that's what he told you when he came for his parenting time with you recently?
No, we went and got him. We went and picked him up. I was at work. I was trying to honor the every week thing, but we went and got him. Like once he said he had so he didn't have marks on him, like from when the police took pictures. But once he said like how he was feeling, and my son does threaten suicide, whether anybody takes it serious or not, we went and got him. And that's when that was the last altercation when the cops came to my house.
So when was that, Arturo?
I don't remember the exact date, but it was last month. It was 25th of March.
So he called you and said his mother was assaulting him and you went and got him.
Yep. Well, I called CPS first.
Okay. And were the police called too?
I called the police later on, but yes, within the reasonable amount of time.
So it's been a short period of time since this happened. So we don't know, you don't know if they're going to authorize charges against her or if CPS is going to take some action at this point, right?
Correct.
You're still waiting to hear back from the prosecutor and or the police and this CPS worker, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I have nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Atkins, did you have any questions based on those questions? And or my questions?
I do. The statement about me hitting our son over and over came where did you hear that from?
That was in your living room via FaceTime when you were smacking him around.
I'm not talking about the time you're claiming to have on FaceTime. I'm talking about the time where CPS was called on the 25th. How do you know what happened in my home that day?
Our son told me.
Okay.
Our son told me. And he sent me a picture of a broken hanger also when he threw it in the sink after, or it was in the sink. Yeah, when he threw it in your bathroom sink after.
Okay.
Yep.
And have you had times where you've told me that I should not believe what our son tells me about things that I've questioned you about your wife telling him? Because
objection, Your Honor. That is full of hearsay. That's extremely.
It's not.
No, that's not hearsay.
It's a multi.
Hold on. She's asking him if he has said something to her.
Right. So to answer this question, I would say you have to filter through his stuff.
Yes or no?
And to see if he can, like I said, to answer this question, you have to filter through what he's saying, and you should be able to have that discernment and wisdom inside you to know whether he's lying or not.
Okay. So that applies to when he tells you things when he tells me things that may be dishonest, correct? Yes.
I'll give you something specific.
Okay.
Objection,
So if
objection, Your Honor. My client would not have personal knowledge about what he's telling her.
Knowledge.
She's not present there.
But I don't have personal knowledge of what he
Okay,
tells his father.
hold on,
And vice versa.
Guys, I understand the point. I understand the point that Ms. Atkins, you're saying that both of you have to question whether your son is telling the truth or not. I think that Mr.
He's got a history of
that as well. So let's move on.
And I do love my son, but he has a history of making false claims and CPS being called and them being unfounded. So that's just my question.
I mean, if that is the case, then there's some issue with parenting time going on.
Well, Mr. DeLeon hasn't been around for 8 years to be part of that. So that's my point.
We'll move on.
For as far as the medication goes, you stated that I do not give him his medication, or I do not offer him his medication.
I said that you are horrible at getting his medicine when he runs out. And that
was not the question. I'm talking about, do I give him his medication? Do I not offer it to him, or do I not force him to take it?
He misses a lot of medication on your parenting time. You might have got better
Your
this
Honor,
last.
Mr. DeLeon, I think the question is, Ms. Atkins, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think what you're asking is, you not provide the medication, or does the child simply decide not to take it? Is that your question?
That is my question.
Okay. Mr. DeLeon, do you have
I'm going to object. She hasn't laid a foundation for my client to have personal knowledge about whether or not this takes place.
Mr. DeLeon stated that I refused to give my son his
I will
medication.
let him
He needs to lay a
answer.
foundation.
I will let him answer to whether he has an opinion on that question.
So I know she works just like I work, and I know that there's nobody in the house at times, or whether the boyfriend was there. And no, he's not taking his meds there. And
But
there's time.
I'm asking, you're not answering the question. I'm
Let
with
me
my
just
son
ask the
every morning.
question. Does, Mr. DeLeon, do you feel that Ms. Atkins allows your son to decide whether he wants to take the medication or not? That's the question.
Overall, I'd say there's been times.
Okay,
Like,
thank you.
so yes, there has been times.
Okay, then let's move on.
Yeah. There has been times.
That's all, Your Honor. That's all.
Okay,
I just have one follow-up question. Arturo, when your
Yes, ma'am.
son with you, does he take his medication?
Yes, ma'am. He's on a tight schedule at my house.
okay.
You make sure he gets it, right?
Your Honor, I also have a follow-up question because that's not what the police officer told me.
Okay.
Objection, that's hearsay, what a police
That
officer.
is hearsay. We're gonna move on. We're moving on. Ms. Katowski, do you want to call another witness?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Atkins, did you want to testify?
I would like to, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, can you raise your right hand, please? You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Why don't you tell us what you want to say about, we're talking about the why parenting time, why you disagree with alternating weeks of parenting time with the daughters. Why is that?
So at this point in time, our daughters are not comfortable with that. My goal is for my daughters to feel comfortable with their father. It does hurt me that they are so angry. I mean, Amadis especially is very angry, and I have tried to encourage, I've tried to facilitate, and I do realize that our children are stuck in the middle, Your Honor. However, it's hard for them not to be when claims are made, you know, to CPS and to the police and about taking medications, because I have no other option than to ask them if they did this or didn't do that. So it's a touchy subject, especially with their age. They can see the things that are happening. I do try to facilitate a relationship with Mr. DeLeon and our daughters. This weekend it was his parenting time. Amadis wouldn't go. I've tried to tell her maybe go for a night, and then, you know, get comfortable, and then you can go for more. Maybe ask your dad if you and him can just spend some time together alone so you can, you know, kind of work your way. So I realize Mr. DeLeon doesn't see that, but I do tell him that. And I try to tell him what she tells me. And I think that for me, we were actually doing really good co-parenting. It felt really good. My boyfriend that he keeps referring to is no longer my boyfriend. He no longer lives in my home. And I've at a certain point tried to stop relying on him so much and let Mr. DeLeon be dad. And so that was in my head. And I thought, you know, what we were doing was co-parenting with our son, majority, but with all the kids. But, you know, with our son, there's a lot more medication, doctors and whatnot. And so instead of, you know, asking for help from my boyfriend, because sometimes my son will get upset and make dishonest statements. So I relied on Mr. DeLeon. I would ask him to help if our son was acting up, and I thought that was okay. And at a certain point, Mr. DeLeon switched that, and that was where the ex parte motion came in, and essentially said that I can't handle our son and I don't want him. And I did provide the court with, at that time, documentation showing that that wasn't the case. I have managed to take care of our son for the last, you know, 12, 13 years, majority on my own. I mean, since he's been in school. And so I welcomed Mr. DeLeon helping, because it's a lot of work. And Sorry.
Well, let me ask a question. What was, in your opinion, from what you observed, was Mr. De Leon's relationship with his daughters at some point better than it is now?
It has been on and off. I mean, they definitely have their moments. I think my daughters, especially Amadis, probably the point where I was frustrated or became untrusting of his wife was when they got married. They didn't tell the kids at all that they got married. And then they were supposed to have like a family meeting with her kids and all of them. And rather than wait until they had that conversation with the kids, his wife posted on Facebook that they got married. And that really hurt my daughter. It hurt both of my daughters, but Amadis, being a little bit older, she really took that to heart. And so, and before that, she told me my dad asked me about marrying Leticia, and, he wants to do things, by the Bible in the right way. And he asked us, something along the lines of, he wants us to be okay with it, which probably wasn't a great conversation in the first place, because, that makes them think that they have that power. And so I think for a little bit, she didn't like the idea. And then I don't know, she teeter-tottered back. I don't know what she told him. I wasn't there for the conversation, but essentially what she told me was that after, I don't remember if it was after they got married or before they got married, but after everybody knew that they were engaged, that Leticia had said to her, to both of the girls, something along the lines of—
Objection, this is all hearsay. What Leticia said, the girls said to her, which is hearsay, and Leticia said to the girls. We're getting hearsay on top of hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection. That is hearsay. You can't tell us what the girls told you or what maybe Mr. De Leon's wife may have said.
Okay. So my daughters have told me that they were treated.
Objection. Here we go.
You're asking me at what point
my doctors told me.
My daughters told me directly.
My daughters told me this.
Ms. Katowski, I understand. You just have to say objection hearsay, and I can take it from there. And I'll sustain the objection. Ms. Atkins, what do you think the parenting time should be between your daughters and their father?
I mean, at this point, I'm trying as much as I can to let them have what they want within reason. I mean, with our son, he wants, 50-50. He likes to be in both homes. And I realize with all of the tension it's become difficult, but that's what we were doing. And so Aviana, for example, was there yesterday and she asked to stay an extra night and I let her. I'm not here to ruin his relationship. Right now, Amadis, Aviana likes—
Just don't, you'll have it. Don't, it's not your time.
All right, sorry.
Aviana likes to go every other weekend, and that's what she told me she wants to do. So that's what I would ask the court to continue at this time. Amadis doesn't want to go every other weekend. I do encourage her to. I mean, we can put every other weekend, but I will have arguments with her, and that's where I'm really struggling is with our children. Our son has been abusive to me, and his father was extremely abusive to me. And so I have little control over our son lately. And so the things I have left are basically to take electronics. When I locked his phone, his dad took the phone that I had purchased and got him a new one and put an iCloud under theirs. So I have no control over his phone. And so that's how the situation happened with our son. He refused to go to school for me. And so I went into his room to take his electronics and he cornered me and he hit me, and I did hit him. And I told CPS and the police officer that I did hit him with my hand on his arm. The other stuff is not true. But there's no longer a ability to co-parent. the relationship with me and my son has deteriorated since January. Mr. DeLeon used to carry kind of the same punishments, or we would talk about, I took his phone away, I took this, I took that, and we were good with that. And I don't know what happened, that changed. And so since the ex parte and trying to get custody of our son, he's become a lot more lax. Our son got suspended for 3 days and he did not lose his electronics or telephone or cell phone privileges. So it's really hard for me to have, the authority in my home when it's being made a lot easier at dad's home with our son. And so he's told me, you need to build a relationship. I've had a relationship with my son. I've raised him. I've been through everything with him. And it's for me, it feels like it's being sabotaged. So my point to saying that is that if we have Ahmadi like to go there every other weekend, I can't pick her up and put her in my car. Like I'm really struggling with how I'm supposed to enforce everything that he wants me to, but he hangs like you said, recording every conversation, every text message with my son. Everything I do is under like them trying to make it into I'm a bad parent, or I'm abusive, or I don't know how I'm supposed to make them go when everything I say and do is turned around on me. When I thought that he was co-parenting with me, he totally turned it against me and I was blindsided. And my issue is not, I don't have feelings for Mr. DeLeon. I was really happy that we were able to get along when he came home from prison. He was really kind to me. We had a really bad relationship. He was really abusive to me and it took a lot. And the person that I was with, I had kids with, was his friend. So that was a bad situation on me as well. But when he came home, he was very kind to me. He was supportive. He would tell me, anything I can do to help you or the kids. Do you need anything at your house for them? We were doing good. We talked about things. He asked me questions about insurance. I realized when he got married, that becomes he talks to her and I'm good with that. The issue is more things of, her wanting to take my place rather than help him, contacting the pharmacy and telling them that I'm not allowed to pick up my son's medication illegally and interfering. My kids don't need another mom. She's absolutely allowed to be able to, support in their home. But when you take it to the point of trying to contact doctors, pharmacies in place of me, or telling them things that are dishonest, telling my son that I can't pick him up from school on their day, things like that. I haven't been that parent. I don't tell my kids they can't take their stuff from my house to their dad's house because they're old enough to want and need their own things. And I understand that that's how his wife and her ex-husband do things. Mr. DeLeon was the same way in the beginning. It's still fairly okay. We don't usually have too many issues with them, that kind of stuff, but just different styles. And my problems are not with him and her. My problems are with what my kids are saying to me. And because I've, been close with my kids, they open up to me more. And I'm at a loss for how to communicate that to Mr. DeLeon, because everything I've tried, he either thinks that it's me manipulating them. It's, I don't know. We were getting along good, having good conversations in November, and then completely switched. So I don't know how to facilitate a relationship any more than I've tried. When I tell him things about his wife, it's because somebody has told me that his children there's a concern. It's not just out of nowhere. And I don't know how I'm supposed to force everything that goes wrong at my house. Mr. DeLeon and his attorney and his wife want to dangle in front of everything, CPS and the cops, but then also everything I do to try to be, you know, a parent or in charge is also used against me. So if the parenting time says that Amadis is supposed to go with him, I don't know how I'm physically supposed to get her to go there because she won't go.
Okay,
And so
let me ask you a question. Are you open to Mr. De Leon coming to your house to get her? And then it's up to him to get the child to go?
I am, as long as his wife is not there antagonizing.
Okay.
I didn't even have a problem with her coming, but now it's to the point where she's sitting there holding a phone recording, causing problems. And I will not say that I don't say anything either, but when she's making faces at me and sitting there causing issues, it's a problem. I've not
Okay.
had a problem with him coming to the house. I'm sorry, the light keeps turning off in here. And I mean, I've tried to communicate with him. She doesn't want to come. Maybe you could offer to do this or that. Like I truly do try to facilitate that. I texted him about her basketball games and told him, you know, she's left the game crying twice. She's hurt. She wants you there. And I don't know what else I can do to facilitate that.
What time does she get out of school?
She goes to the same school as our son. So 2 o'clock. So.
So that would be another option, that he could pick her up at school. Then you wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, that would be an option.
Okay. Okay, anything else that you want to say?
The only other thing I don't know if it's still being addressed, the claiming the kids for taxes is, I think, why all of this started. Mr. De Leon asked in January to claim one of the kids. His text
Jack,
message.
this was already dealt with at the last hearing. We made the request at that time. If he's current on his child support, which he is, the court generally allows.
Your
Well,
Honor,
wait,
that was not
I don't
discussed.
remember I don't know if we addressed it last time.
It was not
I
discussed.
don't think we got into it last time. Ms. Katowski, you remember it differently? That we took testimony?
We are requesting, as part of that support order, that last hearing, that my client be allowed to claim the children on alternating years, or, you know, that would be the best thing to do, is alternate.
The support motion was filed by me.
He's never been,
They added that on their parenting time.
On this one.
yeah, he's never been able to claim the children, but he's current on his child support. If he's current, the court can put it in the order, and the court usually does, that the party has to be current by December 31st of that tax year. So he should be allowed to alternate claiming the children. As he just testified here today, he gives them all the food they need. He's got Arturo. He had Arturo for almost 5-6 weeks straight. So the court routinely, she's shaking her head, but the court routinely allows parties with joint physical, joint legal custody, where my client is paying child support, to claim the children on alternating years. She has never allowed him in the last 2 or 3
Your
years.
Honor, our divorce record states that I am to claim the kids effective with the tax filing year.
Right, but we're asking that to change pursuant to a motion, and that
Okay,
can change.
Ms. Atkins, what is your response to that?
My response is that Mr. De Leon is not providing more than 50% of their living. His child support currently, and that's why I did request a hearing, is $321 a month for all 3 children. And I actually have used that child tax credit, the extra money that we got this last year. And I did tell Mr. De Leon, because he had a situation where they needed to move in, I think it was August. And from what the kids had come back and forth saying, it sounded like they weren't sure if they were going to find a place, and, you know, they needed to get it situated rather quickly. So I text Mr. De Leon and told him that I would take on this, all of the school stuff this year, because I had the extra child tax credit. And I realized that they were, you know, trying to move in a quick manner. And he agreed to buy shoes, and I bought everything else. So we've had this conversation, and when he asked me in January about claiming them, I told him that I couldn't afford for him to claim them after I had already done it for, the child tax credit. I would have to pay that back. And that's why I had taken on more of the, finances for them, on top of, normal. Like our son has stayed with him 50-50 for I would say most of last year. Ms. Katowski mentions that he had him for 5 or 6 weeks straight. I've had him for 8 years straight. And I still provide daily, care for our children when he has them. I pick our son up every morning and bring him to school. So I go out of my normal route, not a lot, but I do. And our daughters are not with him, as often to claim that he supports them 50% of the time, nor is his child support equivalent to what he makes now, or, fully supporting them. So
With this,
I would-
It's not your
wasn't her
time.
allegation saying I don't pay for anything outside of child support, that I refuse? See, that was her allegation in the order, which I provide for them. Like,
Okay.
so,
Not true.
and she was,
Understood. Okay.
I was
Ms.
going-
Atkins, is there anything else that you want to say?
I have submitted documents, which you should have got.
I
And which,
understand.
Yeah,
Because
my client provides for at least 50% or more of their care.
I understand.
I do their healthcare.
Right.
Okay,
Great.
Yeah,
stop.
health insurance,
Hey,
everything.
you guys stop. Stop. I understand.
sorry.
Ms. Atkins, is there anything else you want to say?
I would like to just say, if I didn't state it, I think I did, but Mr. DeLeon does provide other things occasionally outside of child support. He does pay our daughter's braces. He paid half of the down payment, and he pays every other month. He pays the $60 fee. So we split that. I pay 1 month, he pays 1 month. And I believe he did pay 1 month more than me. I'm not trying to say that he doesn't support the kids at all. In the past, we've been able to, I've let him know, they need coats or boots or whatever, and can you buy one, I'll buy the other, and that's been fine. But recently that's not been the case with the ex parte and all of that. Softball stuff, I had to pay for all of it. So things like that, when we were not able to communicate anymore, have made it really hard to continue on with the low child support and the asking for help when I need it. I didn't realize the medical, I'm supposed to cover so much before I can ask him for help. So I asked him, and he did pay some, but then he told me that how the medical coverage is set up, I have to pay X amount first, which is fine. So I just paid it from that point. It's just, we agreed to, the understanding for me before was that, I'm doing this, you do that. And I do provide more care for our children, and the child support's it doesn't cover much at $300 a month, so.
Okay, all right, thank you. Ms. Katowski, did you have questions for Ms. Atkins?
I do, thank you. Ms. Atkins, what hours do you work daily?
My schedule is 8:30 to 5:30, but it's flexible.
Do you work weekends?
I can, but I don't. I can work from home if I need to, so it's not regularly, no.
When's the last time you worked on a Saturday and or a Sunday? Left the home and worked.
I worked last Sunday, I believe, but it's not common for me to have to work on a weekend.
So you were gone all day Sunday, correct?
Part of the day.
Okay. All right. So this incident that occurred with Arturo on March 25th, 2022, you're denying that you hit your child with a hanger?
Absolutely.
So your son takes a picture of a hanger that you hit him with, and you're saying he's a liar?
I am saying that he's not telling the truth. There were actually several hangers that were broken in his room because they're cheap, and he rips the clothes off, and there were the police officer took pictures of several hangers on the floor, and there was actually no mention from the police officer that there was a hanger in the sink.
So you think it's okay to physically discipline or hit your 14-year-old son?
I do not regularly discipline and hit my son. He punched me in the side, and then I hit him on his arm.
So fair to say the relationship between you and your son has deteriorated to the point where, according to you, you are physically fighting each other.
No, that's
What
not.
you just testified. He punched you, you punched him,
No, I didn't punch him.
you hit him.
That's not what I testified to. I hit him enough to get him to back away. And I do, it's
But
not a
Ms.
common
Atkins,
thing.
Not
Your Honor,
good.
she's not.
Correct.
Hold on a second, guys.
Ms.
Stop.
Atkins, is
Wait,
that
hold on,
good?
Ms. Katowski, wait. We're talking about parenting time with the two girls. If charges are pressed or if CPS substantiates, then that can be brought in later on. But I don't think we have any information that's relevant to that right now, and that also is relevant to the parenting time with the two daughters.
The reason it's relevant, Your Honor, to the parenting time with the two daughters is because Ms. Atkins doesn't parent the children. She has a free-for-all at her house. And so when she says, I can't make Amadi go, and she's 13, it's because Amadi is running the household as Arturo does when he's there. And she's not parenting these children as a mother. She's parenting them as their friend, or I'm not sure what. But a 13-year-old should not be telling a parent what they can or can't do. I understand, she cares what her daughter feels, but that just shows, Your Honor, that she's lost control in this house. She's lost control of being a parent in her own home.
Well, I agree.
That's the relevance of it.
I agree that one of the issues that we're talking about, and one of the concerns I have, is the lack of control over the children. That is an issue that has to be addressed, and Ms. Atkins has expressed that. And that's why I asked questions about how we can set it up so that it's not on her to make sure the child goes. We get an opportunity for Mr. De Leon to say, okay, let's go.
Amen.
And
Right.
then we can,
That's what
and
we
so it's something that I'm looking at. I just
Matt,
don't
Your
want to get
Honor.
stuck in the weeds on, we're going on 2 hours. I just don't want to get stuck in the weeds when we're talking
Okay, I
about the
understand.
parenting time for the two girls.
Well, she gave about a 45-minute summation, which,
I
okay.
understand, but your client also has been, he talks, there's nothing wrong with it. Let's just move on.
Okay.
So when I was talking to Amadi, when I was talking with
Pardon
her, like one of her things that she said is that it's not court ordered, so I don't have to come.
Okay,
Right.
With
there
the
will be, here's
I
the
believe-
one thing.
Yeah.
If you're requesting a specific parenting time schedule, you have a right to a specific parenting time schedule. I will
Right.
order a specific parenting time schedule. I have to by law. Now, you guys can object to it, whatever it turns out to be. But if parenting time is as the parties agree, and either party requests a specific schedule, the court has to order a specific schedule. Might not be what you like, but I have to do it. So there will be a specific schedule.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So let's move on.
Okay, Ms. Atkins, can you tell me what is the name of your daughter's doctors? What are their doctors' names?
They all go to Lauren Mortensen at Holland Pediatrics. I have shared that information with Mr. De Leon. I'm not sure if I gave him the specific name, but the doctor's office, because we had an issue with insurance in the beginning when he started covering them.
And is your daughter on ADHD medication?
She is.
She have to take that daily?
She does.
Is that prescribed by Dr. Mortensen?
Yes, it is.
So isn't it true that your daughter doesn't always take it, or you don't give her the medication to take to her father's?
That's not true.
Isn't it true, Ms. Atkins, that really the breakdown of the communication came when he got married and you were upset that he has a new wife and you are just jealous of that relationship, correct?
That's not correct, actually. Our conversation just this past November, October, September of 2021, when he's been married for almost 2 years, I want to say, was great. So we've had our moments, but it has absolutely nothing to do with him being married. If you recall, I did say that I thought in the beginning, I told him she'd be great because I knew her and I felt like she'd be safe with my kids. The issues have arisen from treatment, how my kids are treated, and I'm trying to communicate with Mr. DeLeon on that.
Well, we talk about how your kids are treated. Isn't it true that in April of 2020, your live-in boyfriend kicked you and all your children out of the trailer, and Arturo called his father saying, "I'm scared, mom's boyfriend kicked us out"?
That is not
And you're
true.
worried about my client's wife, but you've got a boyfriend that smokes pot and kicks you out, correct?
No, actually, that's not true. And as you've mentioned, or Mr. DeLeon mentioned, he doesn't live there anymore, but that's not true. And
You smoke a
to
lot of pot,
that
ma'am?
point, Mr. DeLeon has mentioned that he's friends with him or friendly with him. So sometimes he says that he treats them bad, and then sometimes they conspire against me together. So
Well, he did testify that he's friends with them. He testified that he's friendly with them because he's trying to keep the situation amicable, unlike you who can't stand his wife for some reason. So, Mr. Your boyfriend, what is your boyfriend's name? Ben
boyfriend. He's
He
not
moved
my
out.
boyfriend.
But he moved out like 2 weeks ago, so he was,
Been
right?
out for a month.
Okay.
Yes.
So he's been out for a month, and he
Mhm.
smoked a lot of pot, right?
Not in front of my kids, but sure.
Okay. Isn't it true that he turned some of the kids' rooms into a gaming?
Absolutely not. That's absolutely not true.
And isn't it true that Arturo was with his father because you couldn't handle him from December 6, 2021 until we filed the ex parte at the end of
No.
January?
That's not true. The text messages I provided to the court show that Mr. DeLeon stated on December 20 that our son was with me. So there's many dishonest parts of that. But yes, he was
Sir,
helping.
ma'am,
He was
ma'am,
helping with our son.
Ma'am, do you talk negatively to your children about their father and or his wife?
I do not talk negatively, but I've had to have conversations with them about what's going on because I need to know their what they've said or if they feel that way. So
Why would your daughter say to their father, "I'm not going with you because it's not court ordered"? That's not something a 9 or a 13-year-old would understand. It's got to come from you, right, Miss Atkins?
I think that she heard me having a conversation with someone, but Mr. DeLeon also has, and I have told our son that he's taking custody away from me with you. So it goes both ways. They've heard us say things, and I probably have told Mr. DeLeon I can't make her go. I try to encourage her to go. And she's probably heard me say that, yes, it's.
Well, isn't it true when your daughter Amari comes home, you grill her about what she did with her stepmom and what they
Absolutely
talked
not.
about? Or you're telling me you don't do that?
I do not grill my daughter about any of my kids about anything. They do like to have conversations with me.
Well, isn't it true you consider yourself more of a friend than really a parent?
Absolutely not. That is why our son and I have had a hard time recently because I am parenting him. I am taking away things when he gets in trouble. And that has not been carrying over to dad's house in what seems to be an effort to make it harder for me to have him in my home. So I am not my kid's friend. I'm their parent and I love my kids and I've spent their whole lives with them. So I do have a close relationship with them.
What is it that you have against my client's
Mr.
wife?
DeLeon, no.
Miss Atkins, what is it that you have against my client's wife? What is it?
I don't have anything against her. My issue is that when my children are made to feel like they're fat or told that they can't get on a bed because they're too big, that they're told that your dad told me anyways or did this anyways, when they're made to feel like they're less important, those are my concerns. That is abuse. And when I try to talk to Mr. DeLeon about it, he doesn't want to hear it. When the girls ask to spend time with him alone, he refuses. And I have addressed and said, that's on him. I mean, I don't like how she treats my children, but he is their dad and he allows it. So
then why, ma'am,
I've
do your
encouraged
text
them
messages turn to personal things about his wife, personal things about his wife and his
Can you give
relationship?
me an example? Because the only things I've said about his wife are that pertain to our children, to issues with our children.
You've never said to my client and or his wife, oh, you're upset because you're getting the good Arturo, the one I should have had during my marriage. This type of stuff?
No.
You never bring drama to all your text messages about their relationship or him being happily married. You don't ever bring that into any of your text messages.
I've told you no. My issue is with how he treats our children and how our
text messages, ma'am, you sure you're telling the truth? Because text messages are.
It hasn't provided anything either, so.
Let's move on.
But you're under oath to tell the truth, ma'am. So if you're lying here today, that's perjury.
You understand that you're under oath.
You understand you're under oath. So you're saying you've never sent messages degrading his wife or anything of that nature?
I have sent messages to him about the situation and everything that's going on. The only reason I have sent messages that talk about her or how she handles things is because of how my children have been treated. So yes, I have probably said mean things that pertain to a situation around my children. I do not randomly text Mr. DeLeon to say, I think your wife is this or that. It absolutely arises from how she treats my children or her telling my children that I can't pick them up or something such as that.
Every single text you've ever sent to Mr. DeLeon has nothing personal in it. It only has to do with your children.
Yes, every single text. So no, I don't recall.
Okay, now you don't recall.
Yeah.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, I've got the information I need. I don't think we need to make closing statements here. I'm going to issue an order related to parenting time. A specific schedule will be included in that for Mr. DeLeon with all 3 children. I will issue a child support order and then an order regarding the tax exemptions. Okay, you'll get that next couple days, and then you'll each have 21 days to object to that. If you do object to it, then you'll have a hearing with the judge, and I'm not sure who your judge is. I think it's Judge Engel.
It's Judge Engel, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So I will do my best with the information I have. And again, there will be a specific parenting time schedule. What that schedule is, I don't know right now. Child support will change because there's been change of income, but also if there's a change in parenting time and the tax credits. Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions from you guys?
Oh, one last thing. So we do have an agreement though to Our Family Wizard. So that will be starting today. We'd like that to make immediate effect because we don't.
It sounds like Ms. Atkins already has gotten that and has it. So yeah, that I'll include that in my order, but effective today, you guys will use Our Family Wizard. Communication will be only related to parenting time issues.
So I just to make clear, does that mean that we should not contact each other by phone for anything? Like I'm just thinking on a daily basis.
Here we go.
Your Honor, I'm not talking to his
text
attorney.
Messages. We don't need text messages. This is what he wants to do. He wants to access.
All non-emergency communication will be through Our Family Wizard.
Okay, so if I can't get him to answer his phone or something and I'm picking him up for school, I may call Mr. DeLeon.
If there's something that's time specific, I mean, it should be used rarely, but if it is, it's an emergency, something has to happen, fine. Okay. But for the most part, all non-emergency communication will be through Our Family Wizard. Mr. DeLeon needs to get signed up. You guys need to share whatever information that needs to be shared, and the communication needs to be between the 2 of you, not between the 3 of you. Now, I understand, Mr. DeLeon, you have a wife, and she can be included in your conversations that you have privately, but with the 2 of you talk, it should just, or with the 2 of you talk, it should just be the 2 of you. Okay.
I would ask, Your Honor, that be included as well in the parenting order to some degree, that his wife is not to make changes with doctors, not to call as if she's me, not to,
It will be included in the order that the medical decisions, medical appointments, and things will be between the two of you and not with any other third parties.
Yeah, we get that.
And I'm not saying it's because it's a problem. I'm not making a judgment that you're, Mr. De Leon, that your wife is getting in the way of anything. I don't care. I'm just saying, let's get rid of that irritant if it is, and just make it the two of you. You're the parents.
So can that, like the scheduled conferences, can all that be on Family Wizard? Like everything of that nature?
Well, what I'll tell you, it's not going to be Ms. Atkins' job to make sure that you have all the information you need. You need to be able to find out. If you know where they're going to school, you can find out how to get that information about school.
Well, tell them what happened.
Hold on, Ms. Katowski. If Ms. Atkins is making a doctor's appointment, she needs to put that on Family Wizard. She needs to say who the doctor is. And you need, Mr. De Leon, you need to be able to get onto the portals and the patient portals and all that crap.
Yeah.
Not crap, sorry, but all that stuff.
It's all right.
But once you have that ability,
Right.
it's not her job to make sure that you know all the stuff. Now, if she makes an appointment, she needs to let you know about it
Right.
in a timely manner.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have to say, hey, there are parent-teacher conferences tonight, because you can find that information yourself. And if you're not able to because of something that Ms. Atkins has done, then you let the front of the court know, or you let your attorney know, and then we can address that. Okay?
Yeah, because it's been a problem, he told me today, Your Honor, that Holland Public Schools, where all three kids go, will not let him into the portal, even though he's shown him the joint legal custody order, and he's unable to access any of that information. So I don't know who's preventing this blockage of him getting this information, because he's asked to have it. And
he's not asked me, Your Honor. He has
Well, here's the
communication
thing.
I'm not
daily
saying
with the
he asked
schools.
you. I didn't say
But
that.
Ms. Katowski, he's got a legal right to it even without joint legal custody. I will include my order that both parties have rights to all the information. If there's some kind of log jam there that Ms. Atkins, you can fix with the call, just then take care of it. As long, you don't have to access the information for Mr. De Leon. You just can't get in the way of him being able to do it.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
the
and
only thing.
I didn't know he had any issue with the school stuff, because he has been communicating with our son's teachers on, like he mentioned, on a daily basis. So I didn't
Okay.
know he was having any issues getting
Okay.
into
Well,
the school stuff.
So there's responsibilities on both sides. And again, Mr. De Leon, you just need to be able to have access, but you don't have to have it spoon-fed to you. And you don't seem like somebody who wants that. But that's how it's going to be. So look for my order. It'll come out. Ms. Atkins, you'll have, I think it'll come with an objection form if you want to object. Ms. Katowski knows how to object if she wants to. Okay?
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, great.